What's going on, comrades, and welcome to this new series where I will be teaching you a little bit about Gunpla and Gundam and all of the things that you need to know about, and this is going to be more of like a tips and tricks, top 10 kits that I would recommend, top 10, this whole series that I'm doing is basically all that. I'm your host, Cold Bane, aka Aaron, aka KBG, Cold Bane Games. You're on my channel right now, so you got an idea who I am. But anyway, to kind of go over things a little bit for you, today's video is all about teaching the new beginner on how to get into one of the biggest growing hobbies right now, and one of the funnest hobbies that's out there, which is Gunpla building, which is building model kits of Gundams based on the hit anime series Gundam. There are multiple series that span multiple timelines, and they're constantly pumping out new content. It's really a hit series based on the mecha anime, which is all really fun. But today's video is not about that. It's about teaching you the know-how to pick out your first kit, what tools you're going to need, and more. I mean, there's so much more I could tell you about. So let's start off with the tools. So you might be asking yourself right now, what tools do I need to get started with this? And it's very simple. You don't need a lot of the things that you'll see people tell you need right off the rip. I would say at the most, if you're not experienced with building model kits, the first things you'll need to find are a pair of nippers. Now these nippers right here, you can buy just the pair of nippers from any big box store, any place that has a Hobby like Hobby Lobby, Target, Walmart, Amazon even has them. But you can look up model nippers or Gundam nippers. There are several different pairs out there. I recommend just starting out, don't go out and spend money on the $50 pair. They're nice. They do a really clean cut, but again, $50 for a pair of nippers. These tools get used the most out of any tool you're going to be using, so a pair of nippers is always recommended. And I will say this, I have gone through this pair and this pair alone in the 3 years I've been building since I started back up with the hobby. Before that, I never had a pair of these, and I'm going to tell you right now, I broke so many parts trying to pop them out of the runner. Definitely get you a pair of nippers. These are the best tools you can use. Again, I bought my kit from Amazon. There's a $15 kit out there that has all the tools that you may need later on. But I recommend at least that, and at least one to two types of tweezers. I have two types of tweezers here. One is a curve build tweezer, so that way you can kind of get into angles and stuff like that and readjust and all that. Then you have your straight tip tweezers, which are, and I recommend these like thin tip tweezers. They're good for picking up the smaller pieces if you drop them, or if you need to put a decal on. Doing the eye decals, the straight ones are the best. Like the eyes for the Gundam are really tiny and really thin stickers, so you want to kind of just take these tweezers and line it up the best you can. A steady hand is kind of required for that, but if you're not real steady, it doesn't matter. Have fun with it. They don't have to be perfect, and that's one thing I will say. But you definitely want, at least to start while starting out, a couple pairs of tweezers and some nippers. Again, I got all of this in a toolkit from Amazon. There are so many different toolkits out there you can get. There's the ones in the pencil boxes, and then you can go and get the big bag that has all of the tools that you'll ever need, which includes sanders and things like that. But I wouldn't recommend going out and getting all of that. You really just need the simple stuff here. Like I said, 10 to 12 bucks gets you all of those tools right there on Amazon. Super cheap. You can also find these tools at like Hobby Lobby or any other place that has like a hobby supply stuff. So next thing you're gonna probably want to get is at least something to build on, like a build mat. Now I've got a build mat, and I'm gonna see if I can pull all my stuff out from underneath all my stuff. But this is the kind of build mat I use, and as you can see, I've got stickers on mine. That's okay. but it has a reverse side, so that way if you need to like flip it over and reuse it, this is a good build mat. It's called a cutting mat. Mine came with my toolkit that I just recently bought, the big one that I bought. You can buy them separate. You can buy bigger ones. This one's, as you can see, it's probably all of about, I'd say probably 10 inches by 8 inches. It's not bad. It's literally the size of a sheet of paper. So, yep, I'm dropping everything as I get set up. So, again, and a good desk or build space is also kind of a necessity for this, because you're going to need all of the space necessary to do your builds. I always recommend, if you've got a computer desk or something like that with a little bit of extra room there compared to where your keyboard and mouse is, that works the best. When I do my streams, I'm literally building off the side of my desk. There's just a little section of desk that I build off of. Gives me enough room to kind of do what I need. One more thing I will recommend to get, and that is a runner stand. Now, these you can get on Amazon dirt cheap, or you can, if you've got a friend at 3D Prints, you can get them to print you off one. The 3D printed ones are a little deeper. This one doesn't have a high wall to kind of hold that runner up, because some of these runners, and I've got a runner right here that I'm working on a kit now. This is what a runner is, by the way. So you want to kind of have something that's going to hold that runner in place, not let it bounce around too much while you're working. As you can see here, I've got it kind of stationed in there right now. The tall wall runner stands do a great job of holding that back securely so it won't wobble so much. But again, any model kit you get, you're going to get a little bit of wobble. You're going to get a little bit of stuff like that. Right now I'm working on an HG kit, so that's one of the things I love, is I love being able to tell you about these kits. I love being able to teach about these things. And as you saw, I was touching my camera because I was trying to readjust something there. But yeah, definitely look into getting at least those things. So I would say a good mat, tweezers, like 2 pairs of tweezers, and a pair of nippers. That's really all you need, and a Gundam runner stand. You don't need the runner stand, but it does kind of help out in organizing everything. So that's it for the tools, guys. That's all you really need. So let's get into what kits should you buy. So you're looking at getting a kit, right? And you're sitting here looking probably on any web. You're probably looking around trying to find out, what kit do I want to get? Or you've watched an episode of like Iron-Blooded Orphans or Unicorn or anything like that, and you're like, I really want one of those Gundams. I would say there are a few sites here, and I'm going to hold this up to show you real quick. These are the sites I use. There is USA Gundam Store, The Gundam Place, New Type, and Gundam Pros. These are all the different places I use. I'm trying to find a good spot to hold this and be able to see what I'm doing. But I always recommend like USA Gundam Store if you're just starting out and looking for kits. New Type's also good. Gundam Pros and the Gundam Place, all of them are really good. I usually use New Type, and I'll tell you why. It's because they're quick to get the kits out to you. They have a massive stock. They're really good, and they'll work with you on trying to get everything shipped out to you quickly. Now, that's a good thing, but it's also, and I mean they also use I think they use let's see, is it UPS? Yeah, it's UPS. I think they use as their courier. So if you have problems with UPS or FedEx, it may not be your best bet. I have problems with the USPS. Like my USPS has a hard time delivering to me, whereas FedEx and UPS don't. So I tend to use New Type for that. Now, if you're looking to do good pre-orders, then USA Gundam Store they definitely have a good stock. Right now, with the way the world is right now, though, it's kind of hard for them to get it to you quickly because the shipping process from overseas takes a lot longer now, due to the certain things which we're not going to talk about on here. I'm not getting into that, but anyway, Gundam Place is a really good store too. I really like them, and so is Gundam Pros. I've used Gundam Place once to get a kit, and I've used Gundam Pros several times, and both of them are really good. The owner of Gundam Pros is very active on social media, so he will respond to you quickly if you have questions. He's really awesome. And it's really awesome. Like, they're such a great store. I really like all of these stores, to be honest. But I recommend New Type, Gundam Pros, then USA Gundam Store, then Gundam Place, because you're going to get lost looking at all of the different kits. Alright, so now that we gotten the stores out of the way, let's talk about what kits you should be looking for. So, you're new to the hobby, you're just looking for a kit now, and you've been in Target and seen a couple, you've probably been in Hobby Lobby if you're looking for kits, and you see some of these fancy looking kits. Stay away from the fancy stuff. Stay away from things that are, if you're new to the hobby, do not dive into one of those kits that's really, really detailed. You need to kind of get your bearings first. If you have some experience building model kits, yeah, then you can start trying to test the waters a little bit. I recommend entry grade for those who have never been into it, who've never done the hobby. Entry grade, and then there's also a high grade. There's also a few high grades out there I would recommend. But right now, if you're looking to get into the hobby and never have done it, the entry grade RX-78-2 or the entry grade RX-78-2 American Gundam are really good. Now, the RX-78-2 entry grade is really hard to find right now. That kind of sold out really quick because a lot of people were buying them to customize. And that's a thing in this hobby, is people buy these things to make their own Gundam. They want to build their own mobile suit. They've had that dream of having one. Now they have the ability to do so. So that one might be hard to find. There is a series out now called Gundam Breaker Battlelog, and that series brought out a new entry grade that is really easy, really fun, and the entry grades are super affordable. You shouldn't spend no more than about $20 on an entry grade, to be honest. If you're spending more, if you see an entry grade online on like eBay or Amazon, which I highly recommend you stay away from those. Do not use Amazon or eBay to buy a Gundam. Mercari's okay, but I wouldn't recommend the other two. But definitely grab you an entry grade if you're new to this hobby, new to any kind of model building whatsoever. You're not really going to need your tools except for certain parts. I recommend keeping your tools and having your tools ready when you get into it, because I'll tell you right now, my nose is itchy, but I'll tell you right now, you definitely don't want to dive into a kit that's really complicated, really technical, has a lot of the gimmicky stuff, and just got a spider crawling on my wall. God, everything's just distracting me today. But I had a spider crawling on my wall. But definitely get you a kit that's going to be a lot of fun for you. Not something that you're going to sit there and kind of struggle to deal with. Those entry grade kits are the best. Next up, if you've had experience, or if you've got a little experience with building kits, I always say that a good one to try to get is the SD kits. They're good for someone who's really wanting to get a little more technical, really wanting to utilize their tools. SDs are good, HGs are good. Stay away from first grades. First grades are nice, and they're great for if you're just starting out and wanting to build. But again, those first grades, they're very rare. And if they're not rare, you're not going to feel like you're going to feel like you need to do a little more work to make it better. You're going to feel like you're going to want to paint. You're going to want to do those things. And for me, painting and all that is good, but if you've never done this hobby before, kind of learn a little more before you start diving into painting, because some model paints will actually damage the plastic. So you got to be careful what you use on it. I reckon always, like I said, the kits I'm going to recommend to you are the entry grade RX-78-2 or the entry grade American Gundam. The HG RX-78's a good one. The HG wing kit isn't too terrible either. I wouldn't say that's going to be a hard one for you. I've done the HG wing and it's not terrible. Some of the HG like grunt kits as well, like the gun tank or the gun cannon. All of those are really good kits. They're not too difficult to build, and you've got some tiny pieces there, but tiny pieces are going to come with Gundam kits. I would definitely say, if you're not ready for diving into tiny pieces, stay away from real grades or anything higher than that level. Real grades are nice, but we'll get into talking about that. We'll get into talking about that later on. That's not for now. You're just starting out, get your hands dirty with a couple of entry grades or HG kits. Build yourself up into getting some HG kits, and don't spend a lot of money. Don't dive into this and buy like 5 or 6 kits and then find out you hate it. It's definitely not for everybody. The hobby does get expensive. I know I've got a wall of Gundams right now that I've got to build, or either that I have built. I don't have room to store them in here right now, and I don't want to store them in here just because I've got to reorganize a lot. But again, I hope this video has helped y'all out. I hope that, you know, it kind of gives you some ideas of what kits to look for. I hope that, you know, if you have any questions, that you can come to me and say, hey, I've got a question about this one kit. Can you tell me what kit to get? Can you kind of, is this a good kit? Shoot me messages on Instagram or Twitter. Normally, it takes me a while to respond on Twitter or Instagram just because I don't get the notifications like I do with other websites or other social medias. You can leave a comment on here. I'll tell you how to get in touch with me. There is a link tree that takes you to all my social medias as well. Hit that link tree and go check it out. I'll be glad to teach you anything that you need to know. But anyway, comrades, I want to thank y'all for watching today. Hopefully we can make this series into something that's a little more educational for y'all. But I want to thank y'all for watching. Check the link, like I said, check the link tree in the description. That's going to take you to all my links, as well as a link to my merch shop where you can support the channel that way. Check the featured channels where you can find all of my amazing friends and their awesome works. But anyway, comrades, I want to thank y'all so much for watching. Much love, and das vidanya.